Hello everyone and welcome to the HRL Forza Winter Short Track Showdown week number 2. This one's going to be on the Maple Valley short course. You can see the qualifying results here on the screen. And we're going to go through the order as well on track here in a moment. There we go. It's going to be Luke and Matt on the front row. And then on the second row, we've got Slaunch and Real Deal coming in with the actual scheme this week. Nice to see there. Topics and detail for row number 3. And then row number 4, we've got Armada and Roman. And we've got Sol and Coop joining us in the back row. So showing up for this week. Nice to see a few of our Halo drivers, a few more of our Halo drivers rather, coming over. And we're green. And we actually had to do the manual rolling start, if you could tell there. Slaunch lagged out right before the start of Moto 1, but right before the start, but right after qualifying. So we had to do the manual rolling start again. I'll do a video on it. We tried doing the rigged qualifying, I guess if you want to call it that way, to try to set the order right and do the in-game one. But we keep getting that wrong, and honestly, I'm kind of over it. The rolling starts, the manual rolling starts, have been good enough. You know, I think we've been doing them just fine. They haven't really looked bad at all, and we haven't really had problems with them, but we've had a lot of problems trying to do the rigged qualifying, so I think we're just gonna chalk the rigged qualifying and just do the manual rolling starts when we have to, whenever there's a lag out or whenever there's a Moto 2, and I think it'll save us some time. I think it's actually quicker, definitely quicker overall for us to just reorder the field and do those manual rolling starts, especially because I can tweak the game type settings and set it to a standing start so that we don't run into each other and there's not as much carnage trying to set it up and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll do a separate video on that, going for changes for week 3. There's not a whole lot. That's the main thing. But yeah, I think we'll just go into doing that going forward, because there just hasn't really been any problems with it. But the other thing, there's been lots of problems, and it takes longer regardless. Even if we did it correctly, it takes longer. So yeah, just don't really see a reason to try it anymore. I like the shot right here. Real Deal actually had a really good start, but Slaunch with a good run there. Going to try to get around him, and he's going to do it really close, but completes the pass into that treacherous turn 2. Turn 2, very, very underrated on this track. It seems like not that bad of a turn when you look at turn 1 and turn 3. When you look at those turns, those seem a lot spookier. Seems like there could be a lot more action on those. Seems like those are where you gain more of the time. But I think turn 2 is a bit underrated. For one, you can be tempted to brake going into it, but unless you're on the hards, I think that it's definitely better to just do a quick lift. And Real Deal going to get passed up by Matt and Roman now too. So yeah, really good start, but it needs to try to rebound here. But yeah, so that turn 2, I think that rogue move from Roman right there. I think that's a little underrated of a turn, and it's one to watch out for some exciting moments for sure. Whenever there's a 2 wide into it, because going into it single wide, it doesn't seem too bad, but going into it 2 wide, I think it's actually one of the spookier turns on the track. And Matt, it looked like he had the crossover in the return move on Roman, but he ends up losing out on the run down the straightaway, and he's going to lose the spot to Real Deal and Roman. He's going to have to try to fight back for this. A lot of really good battling for third, and that's what we saw in Daytona Moto 1 as well, funnily enough. It was just really good battling for third. Oh, Real Deal, there we go. Yep, a little tight on the outside of turn 2, right into the sand trap, and there you go. It's exactly what I was talking about, and I guarantee you that won't be the last time that we see that. If anything, I'm surprised that it took us so many laps to see that. My prediction going into this race, I thought we were going to see that happen to 1 or 2 drivers literally on lap 1. That's what I thought going into it, and it was a lot cleaner, thankfully, than I thought. But yeah, there you go. Real Deal just trying to give enough room to Roman, and in retrospect, he's probably thinking damn, I should have been a bit meaner. I should have forced him down a little bit more. Yeah, it's a really tricky turn when you're 2 wide and when you're trying to give room. And here you go, look, Roman and Matt, and there you go. They showed that you can do it. You can do it, but it is pretty difficult, and both drivers have to be pretty nice to pull it off. But yeah, it was a great battle for third. Daytona Moto 1 early on here in Maple Valley Moto 1. It's looking like it's going to be a similar deal. It's looking like it's going to be a third place battle to really showcase this race. We have Opix in fifth right now, approaching Roman and Matt, probably getting some help from all the aggressive battling, and look at this, it continues. Oh, Roman got a little bit tight right there on the inside, and you know, had to slow it down to not like punt Matt right there. It would have got pretty bad if he didn't get it slowed down in time. Looked like he was going to make a move to the inside, but yeah, that slowdown, had to gather it up, and Matt was able to keep it smooth, and he's going to settle into that third place spot. We'll see if he can take advantage of that, especially because his qualifying time was really good. If you missed it at the start, Matt actually has qualified P2 for both races, but at Daytona wasn't able to show that, you know, qualifying pace in the results of the race. But so far here, Maple Valley Moto 1 is off to a much better start, and you know, maybe he can get a finish more representative of that qualifying pace. But yeah, he actually had a really good lap, and the qualifying in general was much closer for this Maple Valley race. It ended up being only 6/100ths, I believe, was the difference from Matt DeLuke for P2 and P1. So it was actually really close. And yeah, nice to see the qualifying battle be so much closer. I'm not that surprised because this track is so much shorter. Daytona, obviously a longer lap. There's a lot more opportunities to gain time. There's also a lot more opportunities to lose time, of course. So the qualifying gaps at Daytona being much bigger, not that big of a surprise to me. But still, like, that much of an improvement. We went from 7/10ths, I believe, from P2 to P1 to 6/100ths. Like, that's a huge difference. And it was really nice to see, and I hope we keep seeing close battles in qualifying throughout the season, especially third place. Third place was really tight as well. I think Matt for second was about a 10th ahead of, I believe it was Slaunch in third, and then Slaunch had two drivers. I think it must have been Real Deal and Opix that were like within hundredths of him, maybe like a 10th off him. So it was like super close for those like third through fifth spots. And I love to see that. Hope that continues. About halfway through the race right here, we're going to see pits really soon. Most of the drivers actually went for mediums. I think Detail is the only driver that took the risk and did something different. I think the reason that is a lot of drivers were kind of... I think there was some uncertainty going into this race because we had to mess around with a lot of stuff. We had to tweak a lot of settings going into week 2 after week 1 to try to fix up some stuff. And we ended up staying on the same tire wear setting after messing around with it a lot. Yep, here we go. Pit cycle starting. But yeah, after messing around with it a lot, we ended up going to the same tire wear setting. So I think a lot of drivers were kind of like, okay, well, is it, you know, we're lowering the laps, but the tire wear is the same. Like, how is this going to play out? Is this going to be a little bit different? So I think a lot of drivers just started on the mediums just to play it safe. And we see Detail, again, doing a different strategy. He's on the hards. He's going to be going to the softs later in the race. And Slaunch is actually on the mediums with everybody else, but he's doing something different. Even though he's on the mediums, all these other drivers pitting halfway, Slaunch is staying out. He's going to stretch it a little bit, and then he's going to go for softs for the back half. So that's an interesting different strategy there out of Slaunch. So we have most of the drivers in the field mediums pitting halfway, and then we have Slaunch going for a medium soft stretch, and then we have Detail going for hards and softs on a more standard hard soft strategy. So a few different strategies throughout the field, but most of the field doing the same thing. I imagine that'll probably change quite a bit for Moto 2 once drivers are more comfortable with, you know, the tire wear setting and what you can get away with on this track. I think Moto 2 will probably see a few more risks, especially with Moto 2 as well. It's the second race of the night. It's, you know, it's your last race on the track. Like, I don't know. I think generally we're going to see more risks taken in Moto 2 with strategy than Moto 1 probably in a lot of these races. Sol might have hit a bit late as well, but I'm pretty sure he just was on mediums as well. I think he just wanted to do a slight stretch there. But yeah, you see most of the field have done their pits. We're on board with Slaunch, and there he goes. So Slaunch is going to go in for softs. Now Detail, of course, he's on the hards. He is going to stay out a little bit longer than Slaunch, probably like one lap longer. And it's hard to see because they're so far apart of the track, but you might think like, oh, if Slaunch can do that, then why is Detail running the hards? Well, what you don't see is that Detail on that those last 2 laps, Slaunch's tires are like really cooked, and Detail on the hards is actually making up a lot of time on Slaunch during those laps. And Slaunch is going to have a lap or 2 at the end of this race where his softs are going to be really cooked, where Detail softs will still be fine. So basically, Detail's going to be running hard softs, but he's not really going to have any laps where his tire wear is going to be a big issue. Slaunch gets to run medium softs. The advantage of that being, of course, he's going to have 1 stint on a better tire compound. The downside, he's going to have about 4 laps during the race where his tires are going to be really, really cooked. So yeah, it's basically like you're weighing the pros and cons of that. Like, is it worth it to have those laps where it's really bad? And here, we go to a bit of a replay on the exit. Here you see the pros and cons of that. Slaunch, if he ran a normal strategy, would have absolutely came out in front of Matt. Well, look at this. Matt's going to pass him right there on the pit exit. Love to see some spice here in Moto 1. Oh, but he gets super tight on the exit, and Slaunch is going to come back. And is he going to be able to make a move here? Let's see. Oh, a little bit of contact going in. Slaunch sets up the crossover, goes on the inside. There you go. And you can see the grip that he's got on those softs already. And
No, I'm gonna.
Oh no! Did you cook it? Oh, we're good.
I got it.
please survive. Please survive. He's having a pretty good race so far, and you know, his Daytona Moto 1 was going pretty well until the strat call. But that right there could have been a race ender. That getting in that grass, even like 2 tires in that grass right there, on that exit going into the finish line, it's actually really rogue. It's bad. Like, if you get 2 tires in the grass right there, a lot of the time you're getting stuck and you're going in the wall. I'm surprised that he was able to gather it up so quickly and avoid that. But that was pretty clutch, because if he went into the grass just a little bit more than he did, he probably would have slammed the wall and probably would not have been finishing on the podium. But now he still has a chance at finishing on the podium. So, yeah, huge moment in the race right there. Here we go. We're taking a look at Sol and Armada, seeing what's going on here. I'm sure Armada's happy to have some battle action here in this first race.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Oh!
Tokyo drifts it around the outside. That was really close, too. He drifted it right on, or right as close to the grass as he could have gotten, basically, and it looked really cool for the style points, but for the race, it got him past, unfortunately, but for the style points, it looked really cool. Here we go to Detail and Real Deal having a battle, and you would think Detail would be able to take this with the strat call. Detail, of course, is on those softs. Real Deal in the medium. So here you see the strat for Detail, right? He's a little bit further back right now, but he is on the softs. He's going to have more grip, and he's going to try to get Real Deal and maybe Roman, I think, would be realistic. Yeah, Opix is a little bit more up the track. He's probably needs some help to get to Opix, but I think Real Deal and Roman could be doable. But yeah, the question is, he's going to have the pace for it, right? They're both on mediums. He's on softs. He's going to have the pace for it, but can you complete the passes? That's the question. We'll keep an eye on that. Opix is keeping it close with Matt as well. So Matt trying to get this podium, not guaranteed here, although Opix does get really loose on that exit. That's definitely going to help Matt out a bit right there. We're going to go back to Detail, and it's getting close because I think Real Deal's catching up to Roman as well. So we might have a 3-way battle here. Might have a Roman Real Deal Detail battle cooking up here shortly. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to. Going on board with Detail now. And the race is getting really close to the end, by the way. Something I should have mentioned this in the beginning. Oh, Real Deal messes up turn 2 again. Like I said, very underrated turn right there. He got super tight on the exit. He had to gather it up, make sure he didn't go into the sand again. Oh, a little contact right there in the exit for Real Deal on Detail. And now he's going to settle in, and this is smart. If Real Deal does this, if he knows that Detail's on the soft, if he does this, if he settles in behind Detail and tries to stay close with them, you know, Detail should catch Roman on the better tire compound. Absolutely, he should with that small of a gap right there. So if Real Deal can just tuck in behind and stay as close as he can, maybe he can take advantage of Detail passing Roman later, or trying to pass Roman. Maybe he can take advantage of that. So a bit of a strat call here. We'll see if he can stay close enough. If he can, I think this could actually work out really well for him. But yeah, so there's the extra lap. We had to add an extra lap to make sure that I can see the last lap in the film, essentially. So that's why it says out of 21. The race actually is a 20-lap race, but it's out of 21 to help us out with replay. That was one thing that we learned in week 1, so we had to switch it up going into week 2. All right. So that means that we're on 2 to go right now. We're going to be coming to the white flag this time by. So yeah, this race already over. It's a lot quicker. The race is definitely quite a bit shorter than it was. The races are going to be quite a bit shorter than they were with the Daytona race. Still pretty good size. It's pretty similar to our Halo races now. I'd say, yeah, the race lengths now are very, very similar to our Halo races, about the same. But I think Luke hitting the white flag right there, so we're on the last lap already for Moto 1 of Maple Valley. And yeah, here you go. That's what I was saying. Right here, Detail is going to have a look to the inside. Is he going to bait it? I think he does. He's going to set him up to the outside. Roman goes down to protect, but he's going to get loose. Middle of the corner, there goes Detail to the inside. And yeah, I think he's just got too much grip on the softs. He's going to take it. Right there on the last lap. Can Roman fight back? It's going to be hard to do because Detail's got that better tire and he's already in front. Whoa, Roman with a rogue send. I think he backed out of it a little bit because he knew that one was pretty rogue. Still going to hold on to it around the outside and going to take that spot. A couple passes in the late laps. Eventually that strategy coming into play. Taking some spots back there. We'll roll it back here. Take a look. That's Luke crossing the line for the win for Moto 1. Get this finish line shot for our results. And then Slaunch. Those tires did get shredded at the end, but he still had a pretty solid gap. That's Coop right there, lap down. Yeah, Matt actually ended up, that was Matt right there. So Matt actually did end up gaining a lot back on Slaunch at the end there for sure. So you could see the riskiness in Slaunch's strategy. Like if Matt was able to hold up Slaunch a little bit more than he did when he came out in front of him in the pits, he probably could have, still eventually gotten passed by Slaunch, but maybe been able to pass him back at the end when his tires got cooked. Because you saw at the end there, the gap ended up being pretty close. But yeah, that's the risk reward with Slaunch's strategy. But yeah, I think the key there for Matt, he needed to be able to battle with him just a little bit more, like for another lap when he came out in front of him in the pits. That would have helped out right there. But there you go. Take a look at the results again here at the end.
Oh my god.
I got the best lap reaction comps as
Are you
well.
kidding me?
But yeah, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
That's crazy.
That's the results
Oh, I was
for
hoping for that.
Moto 1 for Maple Valley.
Just trying to sneak it.
Really
I see
solid
that.
Moto, and Moto 2 is going to be a spicy one as well. Don't miss it. See you guys there. That's wild.